So Uli Sigg, he had 3 Chinese lives. One was as a manager, as a top executive CEO of that joint venture between Schindler and the Chinese government, which was a model of how then other companies started to invest. And then the second one was as ambassador between 1995 and 98. And then as a collector, the world's biggest collector of contemporary Chinese art. Tell me the day when you guys met. How was it? What did you see in each other? How was that?
Well, a common friend introduced each other. I visited what was his home at the time. And, well, we embarked on a very long discussion, first time, and at least well, maybe he sees it differently, I realized we would have a lot to say to each other. Also, he had some artworks there in his apartment, like we saw this Han Dynasty urn with a Coca-Cola sign, and so I could see the two things which, still say kind of bind us together. He's a radical, that's one thing, and he's like a born contrarian. So these two things manifested themselves, right on.
Mm-hmm. And Weiwei, when you first met Uli, what went through your mind?
Well, it's, I think what I said was in the film. You cut it out. I thought he's the shortest Swiss person I ever met. And, that time I also don't know. He's diplomat. He's very respected, but he visited so many artist studios. And he has such a fascination about the art and talk to each artist for a long time. I think he just wanted to use that time to, it's normally collectors don't spend so much time with artists, but he really more interested in artists than what really happened, what's in the mind. He interested in those stories, so it's a very fascinating man.
And you said that in the movie, that clip was shown, Uli is my maker, he is my maker. What do you mean with that?
Well, of course, I'm an artist, and they also call me activist. So for the artist part, first a few shows, like I showed in Venice, 1999. That time, I almost don't have artworks. The Harold Zeman come to China. Both I and Harold Zeman, how do you call it? Judge? Not judge, but...
He was a jury member.
Jury is for his contemporary art award. And before Harold left, he said, I want to look at your studio. I showed him a house I just have rented, and there's not even artwork there in there. It's quite empty. But Harold Zeman talked with me for a while, said, you're in the show. I was quite surprised. I will be in Venice. And the next opportunity, okay, that's 1999. But after that show, not much since happened. I become an architect. I become very deeply involved with architecture. And with Uli's introduction, I got to know another Swiss couple,
Herzog de Meuron.
Herzog de Meuron. And I was involved in designing this bird nest, this 2008 Olympic Stadium, which turned out to be quite a big, sensational objects. Then later, by 2007, I was introduced also by Uli to his German curator, Gruger.
Hans-Uli Obrist?
No.
You mean the document?
Documenter.
Ruth Noack.
Yeah, Google and his wife. So actually, I'm an artist before I have any gallery shows. I already get into the most, how do you say, highest, profound art exhibitions. Then later I went to Haus der Kunst Munich. The Chris Durkin also is his friend. So basically, I'm not a real artist only because Swiss connection, I'm become a part of the family. So I'm even shy to say I'm an artist. So I said I better make my own image so I become an activist. That's purely I'm responsible. Uli,
It sounds better here in this world than in China, the activist thing.
yeah, and Uli, he really warned me from beginnings, because newspapers started to talk about, just mentioned activist. He said, Weiwei, this is not good sign, artists being called activist.
Mm-hmm. This did the 3 months in detention and then you got released. Uli, did you pull some strings in the background there? Was there anything back channeling with your huge connections to the Chinese government?
He will never tell you the truth.
Let me say that
we can edit it out from the video.
If I didn't, would you expect me to admit this here? And if I did, would you expect me to say this into the microphone? So I think I will leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Now, you're famous for now giving part of your huge collection back to China. A museum is being built right now in Hong Kong. That's a value of several hundred, maybe 150, 200 million dollars worth of art that goes back to China. Now, Weiwei, you once said it's not a good idea. It's probably better to just sink it at the Sempacher See, the whole art, than giving it back to China. Why did you say this?
Well, I think exact sentence is I think he should just dump those art in his Suez, this lake, his big lake.
Okay, the Mauensee.
Yeah, Mauensee Lake, rather to give back to China. Because China is a society still doesn't understand the contemporary value. It's not right attention. It's not a real discussion, and it's not serious. People may use that as some kind of attraction, tourist attraction, but it will take many more years to understand what Uli's effort, what is really meaning of this biggest collection in contemporary art, and will never have this chance to repeat that kind of possibility.
Yeah, but apparently Uli Weiwei wasn't that successful with his argument. Right?
He wasn't. We very often agree, but here we for once disagreed because, the collection was there, and I put it together as what I call a document, which does not exist within China. Nobody paid attention to what the Chinese artists like him were doing at the time, what they were contributing to contemporary culture in China. And I thought this is very odd. So that's why I put together this collection. A national institution should, but didn't. So I still think it would be a waste to throw it into the Mauensee. Actually, when Weiwei's son, who is a very bright boy, will ask him in 10 years from now, what did our artists do in the 80s or 90s? There is only one place, Weiwei and his son could go and see it, which is in that museum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But is there a danger that, or is it already happening, that some of the works, are critical or are, borderline dangerous to the government, they're critical of the government, to the authorities, that they're just going to put it down in the basement and they're never going to show it up as an exhibition? It's just going to disappear. Is that a danger that this is going to happen in Hong Kong? with your collection?
At the time I made the donation, 2012, there was no such risk. Today, I would be a bit more reluctant with the same assessment, because we see ever more pressure from the mainland on Hong Kong, and one country, two systems is in doubt. Yeah.
You are fearless, Weiwei, and you are speaking your mind even when there's a danger for your life, your family's life. What could you tell us? I'm a fearful person, and many of us are fearful. We would never have the courage to be that confrontational with such a kind of dangerous regime, authority. Is there something you could tell us, you could tell the young people here in the room, how we could get more of that fearlessness that you have, that this is my principle and I'm got to stick up to my principles? Is there something you can leave with us?
First, that's wrong impression. I'm fearless. I'm quite a fearful person, and maybe my way to look at life, I'm much simpler. I'm quite naive. In Chinese, we say a newly born a cow, the baby cow would not afraid a tiger. Because it just simply doesn't know. I try to keep my naiveness. I think that's many beauty of life we talk about. If we talk about fear or love, all those things somehow relate to our perception of life. And life just of once. It's like light is up and the light can be off. And so fear, in many cases, wouldn't help. You see so many people, the whole nation has been living fear can be decades or can be long time. It's like a room without light. So if you think your action can help change the situation, or makes the situation better, so I don't see the reason why not. So,
but maybe he is being too modest here. I think yes, maybe he is fearful. We, as you said, or most of us, probably not born as hero. He may or may not be, but he is totally uncompromising. And surmounted the fear if he had it. So many instances, and just faced this power, which is so hard to read, which is opaque, over and over again. His Twitter account was closed, a blog was closed. He got all these warnings, and he found such interesting tactics. Like mounting by himself 5 cameras into his bedroom, even so the authorities could see what he's doing or not doing day and night. And I remember one day I entered the office and there was this empty chair next to the computer, and I said, who's sitting here? He said, I wrote to the government today, I put the chair. So, a cadre, an officer, could sit here day by day, see what I'm doing. So he had very clever counter tactics, and of course exposed him day by day.
Have you ever met another person like Ai Weiwei who was that uncompromising in his stand against the authorities?
I have not.
You have not?
And I met thousands of Chinese people.
Are you afraid when you're going back to China that something could happen?
I think at my age, I'm beyond to feel afraid or about my life. But the more I'm afraid is when I'm there, I cannot make an effort. I will be living shame if I cannot really react to certain. I don't have exposure. I cannot get on internet. I cannot really speak out. That's what I'm more afraid about.
Do you think you had an impact towards the authorities or the political system in the last couple of years? To me, it seems like it's going backwards. You're going backwards in time, becoming more authoritarian. Do you see it in another way?
I made a very dramatic effort, and a lot of people knows me in China, especially young people. They see me as some kind of model. But I don't think I made. I think I'm a total failure in terms of counter this authoritarian society or make them understand any values or to even to come up some better tactics. I think nothing, all my effort that doesn't mean anything.
So your efforts has been mostly as a role model, what you would say as a role model towards Chinese, younger Chinese?
Very, very small population. When I was very active on internet, maybe less than 1 million people. China is so many people. So,
Weiwei, but you're a role model to me. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Uli Sigg, for being here also and to introducing Weiwei to our crowd here. Thank you so much. Please give a big round of applause to Weiwei and Uli Sigg.